Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another art session. It's Marcy at Prints and Paints. It's so good to see you guys. It's been a while, and I'm so sorry I have been absent. I've just been really focusing on family life and enjoying my summer, and I hope to get back to it in the next month or so. But I did want to make this video in particular to share some really interesting products and also just support some other wonderful artists. So in this video, guys, we're going to do a little bit of painting. It's not going to be a huge project, so you're welcome to follow along with me, and I'll probably do a little bit of chit-chatting, and I'm going to introduce some wonderful products to you. I think in the order I want to show you first is the item we're going to paint, and then we'll get into the products. So I'm going to be painting this Sun MDF. It's a 1/8 inch, so it's fairly thin MDF, and all I really did was pop this on my laser cutter and cut out a really pretty sun. And then I even cut out a piece of cardstock which had a center hole in it, so I know where the center of this is, and it just makes life so much easier. And I was able to find the center hole, and then so with that I used my 6-inch ruler and mapped out some grid lines, and I did an 8 segment lines. Okay, so that's really where we're going to go with that one. And this is what it's going to look like. This is just a different color that I did. It's super fun to do these. I did a 2-piece to this one. So I did a moon and I did a sun, and this will probably hang within this area. And I thought it was just a really cool celestial type of project to do. So if you're interested, well, I'm not going to be painting the moon. I did do a tutorial on that. If you want to check it out, you can. And so I'm just going to be focusing on this minus the change of the color palette. So that's that, guys. So if you're interested in painting this, stick around. Let's get to it. Okay, guys, so I have my MDF. Like I said, I already mapped it out with my grid lines. I used a white watercolor pencil by the brand Faber-Castell. This is the Aqua white color pencil. You can find these individually for $1.49, usually at Hobby Lobby. I usually stock up on these. I do have links in the description for everything that I have here, though, that you can buy. I made this, like I said, and so we're going to be painting that. Now I have a couple products that I want to share with you. Some are old and some are brand new, and I really wanted to, this video is really geared for just using these products and also supporting the artists that make them. I think it's super important to support small business like myself, and so I wanted to give thanks to the Dot Cure. She is Susie Wilcott, and she's from Devon, Colorado. And Susie was kind enough to do a fun swap with me. So I gave her my rulers, and she gave me her nice brush set. These are a set of 6 brushes. They are wonderful liner brushes. There is instructions on the back as to how to keep them clean, which is fantastic. I love the color choice of these. This nice purple hue is really pretty, and it's just an overall really nice package. And I've been using these for about almost 2.5 weeks now. I'm really excited to show you how to use these and what we can achieve by painting on this. So we're going to go with that. If you can just really give Susie some support on her Etsy shop and check out her brushes, that would be really cool. There's also I believe it's a 10% discount on the brushes. So if you use the code Marcy10, you will be able to get 10% off her brush set. Don't forget to check it out, guys, and follow the links. I promise you, you won't be sorry with these. These are really fantastic. For those of you that don't like the rigger brushes with the squared off ends, I sometimes struggle with them. I don't really like them. those are these kinds of brushes that have like, it's like a pen. I don't know how to describe it. It's got a different shape to it. They're okay. You know, they're brushes. It is what it is. I personally like something that's more smooth and a very thin finish. So I actually really loved these brushes, and I think they worked really fantastic. I love that Susie has 6 sets of these, so there's a nice, really fine, small detail one as well. It's not just like small to large. I think that's a really great bonus to these. So check her out, guys. I'll leave the link in the description, okay? So that's that. I am also going to show you a product that I'm going to be sharing in probably the next month or so. I'm still working at the logistics and the finalization of them, but it is going to be an all-in-one dotting pen. I've been working really close with manufacturers right now on perfecting it and what I would want out of it as an artist. So this is kind of like a prototype. It's not the tool itself. I will have 6 altogether for dotting tools, but it is kind of like similar to a pen that you would write with that have different colors. So that the top here is like, and it shows you the sizes, which is really great. And so you have, it's very similar. So if you're using your set of stylus like these that you would paint with, except for it's all of these in one. So this is really great for if you're traveling or if you just want to have less. And you know, I have this one and it has all the different sizes that you would like. It's pretty fairly easy to use. I really do like it. It has enough here to dip in and not get clogged up. This front part will also come undone so that you can get in here and clean all of your tools up as well, which I found that to be super important. And you can soak this as well and clean it. So it's pretty cool. It's a nice different approach to dotting tools. So I'm going to have these readily available probably within like the end of August, I should say, early September. So keep an eye out for that, guys. I'll be putting them on my Etsy shop and probably on Amazon as well. So just don't forget to look it up, okay? And then the last thing is something that we all probably know, but I'm going to be using it and I want to represent her as an artist. She is Tara from Deserted Bliss, Bliss Drops. She makes really fantastic dimensional paints, and I just purchased some wonderful colors from Tara, and so I'm going to be incorporating some of her Bliss Drops into my video today, just as that added extra bonus of that sparkle that can really get nice color from her paints. Tara works exceptionally hard at making wonderful paints, and I think as a small business, price shouldn't matter when it comes to purchasing these kinds of paints. I think they're fantastic. And so, you know, for me as an artist, I like to just save up and then I buy a bunch of them and use them. And they really do last a long time, I gotta say. I have had some from last year and they still work great. So it's a really good product, guys. So check out her links in the description as well. Try to buy them on her website. She prefers that than Etsy, but if you can't, and you know, they are readily available on Etsy as well. So Bliss Drops, really good stuff. And that's it for the personal products. Okay, so we have the brushes, we have the dimensional paint, and then I'm going to be offering one of my products, which is the dotting tool. So I'm going to be using these all in this video. They're going to be something different. So if you don't have them, that's quite all right, guys. You can always use the brushes that you have on hand and stylists if you have on hand and whatnot. But if you are interested, you know, this is just it's not so much a product review video. It's more of just supporting those artists and getting their name out. So check them out, guys. And so let's put these away. I'm going to introduce you to the paint colors and then we're going to get started with our painting, okay? So for the colors we're going to use, guys, I'm going with the Deco Art Americana line. They will pretty much be all of the colors that we see here. And this is just going to be like a nice, simple, ready for fall, kind of still in summer palette, I think. I really liked these colors. It took me a while to figure out what colors I wanted to go with, but these are the colors I came up with. So what I wanted to do was basically have 3 colors of a palette of purple, and my inspiration was actually Susie's brushes. So I found that her brushes were very close to the color Poetic Plum. So I started with Poetic Plum and worked my way through that as a color palette. So I have Poetic Plum. I have Gentle Heather, which is a nice complementary color for Poetic Plum. And then, excuse me, as a highlight, I have Baby Blush. This is a very soft, almost white tinted pink. The other 3 colors now are going to be complementary colors to these. So I have Coral Cloud, which is a nice cream, almost like a, I'd say, peachy tone. I have Cinnamon Stick, which when you put them all together really comes out nice. It gives that nice warmth to the colors. And also Deep Ochre, which is a nice rich yellow. And then for the dimensional paints and the highlights, I'm going to use the Folk Art. This is glass paint, which is fine. You can use it on glass, but I found that these actually work really fantastic. I've seen them in the store 1,000 times, and I've never really tried them. And I thought, maybe I should give it a whirl. So I'm going to try this paint today, guys, and that's going to really take place of the design that I have here, which is what the gold was. So there's a little bit of swooshes going on and the center dot. So we're going to replace that with a pearl white. Okay, and the last thing that we're going to need is probably just one dotting tool. I'm going to be using the Happy Dotting in the size 5, and that's just to make a few larger dots. If you don't have these or you don't have something larger, you can always just use your size 5 stylus and make a little bit bigger of a dot. That would be perfectly fine. No worries about that. So that's really it. Like I said, I used my 6-inch ruler. I used the inch marks, not the centimeters. And I did a 8 segment stencil for mapping out my grids and my segment lines. So let's get started, guys. I put mine in a paint pot. So if you want to do that, that's fine. Or if you have a tray or something like that. And, we're going to start painting. Alright, so I already have mine mapped out, like I said, so I'm going to take this off. I'm actually going to take out my brushes here too, so that I can paint. I love this packaging, it's so cute. It's perfect. Alright. And then let's start. So we're going to start with the center. I worked out from a 1/4 of an inch out. So my first marking from the center is a 1/4 of an inch. And so I'm going to do about half of that, I'd say, with this plump dotting. You don't need much of this. So this stuff does come out fast, just by the way. So you want to be very gentle with squeezing this stuff out. I noticed that it's a lot looser and I'd say thinned out. So just keep that in mind. So I like to just start at the center. And there we go. So that's pretty much what I want. It will try to spread out just a little bit more. So just be easy on that one. I'm also going to get a separate paint pot here, and I'm gonna squeeze some of this into it, okay, because I want the white as well. So I'm just gonna get a separate one here and then squeeze some of this in there, just so I can use it with dotting tools as well. So now we're gonna go with the size, I'd say size 2. dotting tool, which is the blue one, or I'm using this, okay? And really, I'm just going to work my way around. So I usually like to start on one of the segment lines, and then I work my way around. And we're going to do one more. Okay, so there we go. And then let's clean this off. I always want to clean these off though. That's the only thing, is cleaning these off, because the paint will go inside if it retracts. So now I'm going to go back up to the next size, which I would consider the size 3. And I'm going to go in with my Gentle Heather, and we're going to do Baby Pink. We're going to do these two together for the center. So again, I'm just going to basically try to dot in between each of these white ones. If it lets me. It might not. I usually pay no mind to that, and I just kind of go around. So I did make a bunch of video, guys. I'm really sorry that I haven't shared anything in a while. It's just been, like I said, I've been so busy. I really have had some clarity on family life, and this year's been pretty hard for me already. It's only been halfway through the year, losing loved ones and everything else. So I've really just put in perspective of spending more time with my family than making videos, because it's so time consuming making videos. Making videos is the easy part. It's the editing and everything else that comes with it. The advertising, the social media posts, all of it is just so much. And you know, between that and just having a lot of trolls out there too, people are just can be very, very mean. They really can. And I've read some really nasty stuff that people have shared with me, and I don't know why they feel inferior to hide behind a keyboard and say mean things, but people do, unfortunately, and it's very sad. So I'm gonna go in now with the baby blush. And I'm going to do the size 5. But yeah, they just, man, I don't know. And I delete the comments. I don't leave them up. I probably should, but I don't. I delete them. So I've had some really nasty ones though. And I've had a lot of copycats with the grid line ruler and stuff. I mean, listen, I love my product. It was expected that people would jump on board and want to also make something. It is what it is. I'm not going to talk bad about anyone at all. That's not in my nature to do that. I just know that there were a few content creators and people who are in the market that have really surprised me and shown their true colors, and were just not very, very nice. Not very supportive, that's for sure, for other artists in this community. You know, I've had some that went as far as emailing me wanting to collaborate or use my rulers and then turn around and make their own, and it was just really messed up on their behalf. So I felt kind of betrayed in a bit. But I've learned to just brush it aside and work through it. There's nothing else I can do for that. So that's kind of where I'm at with all of those kinds of situations. And, you know, having the patent can only get you so far, because I don't have a copyright on the design technique of making concentric circles, because it's been around forever. I only have a design and a pattern on this item right here, and that's it. So if it looks exactly like this, then yes. But if it doesn't, and it does the same concept, I have no right to tell anybody what to do with that. So it's just become a much broader and competitive field with that product now. It is what it is. It's okay. So we've got our center portion finished. So it should look something like that. Okay, we kind of pretty much worked out to the second grid line going around. So now I'm going to use the larger dotting tool, the size 5. And I'm going to go in with my purple. And on every segment line, there should be 8 of them, I'm going to make a large dot. And this large dot should pretty much fill this negative space here to the next grid line out. And maybe go over just a little bit of it too. So it kind of rests a little bit out. Okay, so there we go. There's the 8 there. I'm going to clean off my dotting tool. So now I'm going to get out my white again. And I'm going to do a series of walking dots around each of these. I am probably going to want to use something in the middle, so I'm going to use the size 2 dotting tool. Dotting stylus, I should say. And I'm just going to dot at the base and then do a walking dot up around it on either side. So I hope everyone is enjoying their summers and trying to stay cool. I know it's been up and down, and I don't know where most of you are from. I know that here in the Northeast, it's been pretty dang hot. We've had some severe heat advisories a lot, and for being in the mountain range, yesterday I recorded 102, which is bizarre. So we've just been basically spending all of our time at the lake. So we swim in a lake. We have a community where we swim in a lake, and we have a nice beach set up. So that's usually where you'll find me and my kids and hanging out. We have a great time there. Haven't really done much hiking and photographing in a while. It gets very touristy in this area, so it's a little hard to maneuver and work yourself around areas to see like waterfalls and things like that. So I usually like to wait for the fall when everyone is gone and back in school and it's quiet. That's my time to go do my hiking and photographing. So that's finished, guys. So we did that already. Good. Hope you're all sticking with me and we're working this out. Alright, so time for brushes. We're going to do one more thing actually, and we're going to go up in a size. Let's see. We're going to actually do the size 5. Yeah. I'm going to do the size 5, the largest size. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the next line. So I'd say this next grid line that's apparent and showing below it, so right here, I'm going to do 1, and then I'm going to do 1 on the left of that grid line, the segment line, and then 1 on the right of that. Oop, it should look something like that. Okay, so it's below this grid line. And then on either side of the segment lines, which are these coming out, you do 1 on the left and 1 on the right. And this is just going to set us up for a nice area to paint some swooshes, because we're going to start getting our brushes out now. I saw on the news this morning that there was a massive earthquake in Russia, and that the West Coast is having tsunami alerts. My gosh. I hope everybody's okay. Maybe you guys are used to things like that. We aren't on the East Coast, really. We never really have anything like that. We do get hurricanes come up from Florida. But like I said, I live in the mountain range, so my biggest fears are snowstorms. We don't really have tornadoes, and even hurricanes aren't that terrible. It could bring down some trees here and there, but I mean, really, it's not like what other people experience. So I'm curious if you guys are okay with the tsunami. I saw that Hawaii was going to get hit pretty hard with it. So I hope everybody's okay. So now what I want to do, because I did these, all 3 dots, I'm going to want to paint with my brushes. This is going to be fairly small, so what I want to do is get out that really tiny detail brush that Susie gives you in this nice set. It is considered the 5-0, so it's very tiny, very small bristles, which I love. That's fantastic. Usually I have to make my own to look like this. And I'm going to want to get out some different colors here. So let's see what we're going to work. I think we're going to tap into our warm tones now versus doing the purples. So I'm going to go in with my coral cloud with my brush. I'm going to dip it a few times just to get a nice amount on there. And on this top dot that we did, right next to it, I'm going to want to push in and then kind of swoop up. Ah, it's like butter. And it makes like such a nice swoop. I really do love these bristles. They are so perfect. They leave a nice tapered look at the end. Super nice. Okay, and then I'm going to do the other side. So my last few videos, it was probably back in June that I made them. We're now into the last day of July. So I've done a lot this past month for summer. My family and I went to the Carolinas and spent a glorious week on the beach. It was so much fun. My kids got to finally experience nice warm ocean water, because here in Pennsylvania we usually do the Jersey Shore, and it's okay, but the water is always like 50 degrees. Unless you go at the end of August, early September, you're gonna freeze. So I said, if we're going to go to the beach, and we're going to do that, we're going to go to a beach. So we did. We drove all the way down. It was about a 12-hour drive. Not terrible, but definitely something that was like, you know, kids are saying, are we there yet? But it was fun. We had a blast. All right, one more thing. We're going to stay with the same brush, but change color. So I'm going to go in with my cinnamon. All right. And all I want to do is, I'm going to make one more swoop. It's going to be really tiny, so, but it's going to be right here on that next guideline up. They're almost going to blend together. Okay. Good. The only thing I'd say that was pretty scary and kind of negative was the fact that we spent one of the evenings at an amusement park that was located on the beach, and we were having a blast. But you know, with being there for about an hour and a half, the sky turned dark, like super gray, lightning in the distance. You know, the waves were coming in strong, and we were, you know, riding most of all the rides, and then there was one left that I wanted to try. In fact, I wanted to go on the really big roller coaster because I love them, but yet, you know, my kids were too scared, and they're kind of little. They, you know, kind of said, we'll hang back with Dad, and then I went online by myself, and I was going to go on, and I was next to go on, and they stopped the ride because it started raining and thundering, and then there was lightning, so they stopped, and I was like, okay. So we walked around. It was still, everybody was still doing whatever, and my son and I, he's 10, decided to go on that one kind of roller coaster with a smaller cart, and it kind of whips you around. It's like a mousetrap type thing, and we went on that, and it was still running, so we went on it, and we got to the top of the track where you're going up and it's going, and we just stopped. And we didn't move forward. And within a minute went by and we're like, what's going on? And then finally this old guy that was running the thing, he comes running out to the stairs that go up to the top of the thing. And he's like, just stay still. Something malfunctioned and we have to reboot it so that you can go. And we're like, we want to get out of here, you know? And my poor husband's trying to call me with my daughter at the bottom of the thing and trying to let us know. My son got upset, was crying, and in the distance I just see these dark clouds with lightning rolling in, and I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, what is gonna happen to us? Like, it was terrifying. It really was. I don't think I'll ever go on that ride ever again. But they finally got guys to come, maintenance, and they fixed it, and then we had to ride the whole ride while it was like lightning out. Crazy. I don't even know. It was terrible. I don't think I'll ever do that again, though. It has become this like staple in us, me and my son now, that we will probably never go on that ride ever again. Okay. But overall, we did have a good time, I gotta say. We had a blast. Swimming in the ocean, it was a great time. Okay, so I've got my first layers working out here, and so now I'm gonna start blending in with a lot of swoops and things like that. I am gonna get out my dimensional paint again, this one, and we're gonna do one quick swoosh. Always make sure you squirt some of this out first into a paper towel, otherwise if there's a bubble it might go pleh all over. So I'm gonna want to do this swoop here right in this area, this negative space in between the dots and where my cinnamon was. So I'm gonna work myself down, and I'm probably gonna do, I'd say, this next guideline right here from the dots down right here. So what I want to do, I'm going to have to eyeball this now, so just gently make myself a dot. And then I'm going to use the dotting tool. This is a happy dotting tool with the nice sharp edge, and pull that swoosh up. I want to do them for all of these, so there'll be 8 of them. Okay, so let's do this one. Yeah, it was definitely one of the best vacations by far that we have ever been on, though, I gotta say. So And what else happened? Oh, just this past Friday, they have a place called Bethel Woods in our area. It's in the New York side of the tri-state area where I live, and it's actually where the original Woodstock took place. They always have wonderful outdoor venues and concerts and things like that. So I was so fortunate. So my entire life growing up, since I was probably about 5 years old, I adored Cyndi Lauper growing up. I loved her. I dressed like her when I was in kindergarten. My mom bought those beautiful, like, color scarves, and I would wear them in my hair with about 6 different scrunchies, and I was just a funky kid. I loved Cyndi Lauper. And it probably, I have to say and admit, like, it made me the creative person I am today, for sure. And, unfortunately, she's getting up there, Cyndi, so she is doing her farewell tour. It's her last tour she'll ever do. And I was just like, oh my gosh, it was kind of like a bucket list for me, you know? And so, as much as I wanted my mom with me, of course, she was there in spirit, but I was lucky enough to bring my daughter, and my daughter was listening, and we've been listening to Cyndi for like the past 2 weeks leading up to the concert so that we would know the words and, remember everything. And we had so much fun dancing together and just having a great time. I have made such wonderful memories with my daughter that I'm so blessed and appreciated for that. It really was something spectacular. And she put on an amazing show, I gotta say. It was awesome. Cyndi, you rock. You still got it, girl. Okay, let's keep going. Sorry, I'm talking too much. Poetic Plum, let's go into it. And we're going to use the same small brush. I'm probably going to only use a few of these brushes, by the way, only because I'm working in a smaller scale. But that's one of the reasons that I do love these brushes, because if I was using a much larger mandala, I have the access to have larger brushes for my strokes, right? For the brush strokes. This is great because I have a little one and I have one set. It's not like I have to buy multiple. So that's pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to do a series of swoops around these swooshes I made with the white pearl. I like to do it backwards. You don't have to do it this way, but I find I have better control over that pattern that you would make. So what I like to do is start at the corner, pull it around slowly, and then taper out like so. I don't know if you can see the plum color. See? So if I was to do it again, let's get enough on there. So we're going to push, work it around. I find if I do it this way and come down at myself, sometimes they get too thick or they don't curve nice enough to where if you're doing it away, there's something in that wrist motion that really helps promote the natural curve of this. So I like to do it like this. I like to go away from me. And I'm really just kind of tapering off that piece to the next guideline that's resting down below the white swoosh that we made. So we're going to do something like that. Really just make sure you get enough paint on there. So it might take a few times to just dip in. Okay. There we go. Perfect. And I would just say try to stay consistent with how close you are to that white swoosh. I'm curious about all of my viewers. How are your summers going? Did you guys do anything exciting? And we've been discussing in our family, I think our next trip possibly might be going out west. We really want to go out west and see all the national parks, Yosemite, Yellowstone. We want to go to the Grand Canyon. I mean, we're from Pennsylvania, so we've seen enough beaches and we've seen enough waterfalls galore. I would love to go see different things. I want to be able to hug a massive tree that's ancient and old before they all go bye-bye, you know? And, I don't know. I mean, if anybody recommends anything, let me know in the comment section what you think is worth the trip out. Because we're going to have to really figure that out when we go out there. But, man, yeah, I just want to see. I want to see everything. I just want to keep making memories with my kids. So we have that. I'm going to go up in a size now. So I want a little bit bigger, but not too much. So I'm going to use the 3-0 brush now. And I am going to go in with my Gentle Heather. And this time we're going to start down here and then work our way up. And look at that beautiful tapered. Oh, I love it. I love the way these brushes work, I gotta say. And I'm not just saying that. They're great. They really are great. They're nice and smooth, and they really have upkept. Like, I liked my XDT brushes for a long time, but over time they got kind of frayed and they just didn't really like hold up very well. And like I said, I've been using these for almost 2.5 weeks now. Well before I even went on vacation. And I used them during vacation, and they were really fantastic, I gotta say. Kudos to you, Susie. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the other side as well. So there'll be 2 of these, and then coming up around. So I've pretty much ixnayed doing any kind of craft fairs this year. There are usually a lot in my area where I live for the fall season, but I just found that it's tough. When you're making videos, you're not painting for yourself. You're painting to show others how to do something, which is fine, and I have the things left over. But then I'm too busy thinking about what kind of videos I want to make and then structuring them, writing scripts. I'm practicing the objects and whatever it is that I want to do. Then the editing portion. So there's a lot involved. And so I don't really have the time to just paint for myself. So this past month I was able to paint a lot of things. I made a lot of dream catchers and wind chimes and really fun things like that, which was great. But I'm going to pop some of these little bubbles here. I have a few air bubbles in this paint. But I did enjoy it, I gotta say. Sometimes you just need to take a mental break from doing the things, especially if you're a creator. And just do the things that you love to do, you know. It gets you back into a creative place, too. Alright, so we're going to do a couple more swooshes just to fill into this negative space. But I do like the colors that it's creating. I do like that. It looks really nice. Alright, so I'm going to skip the highlight, which is that baby pink color, the baby blush. And I think I'm going to do more of, because I want to do 2 more colors. So I think I'm just going to actually skip it and just do cinnamon and yellow. And I think that'll complement each other nicely. So again, same size brush, 3-0. And I'm just going up a grid line. So if this one was resting on this one, I'm going to go up to here. This one's going to be a tight swoop, so you're just going to push down and curve real fast. Just like that. And this is our last one here. Good, perfect. So this looks really nice. I like the color tones it's giving off. That's really nice. You always have such a different feel and a different... You could pick out colors, that's great, but then once you start laying them down in different patterns, it creates such a mesmerizing, like, kaleidoscope of colors, which... That in itself I love. That even with this one, if I did the colors differently, it would show up differently, which is so cool. That's why I love mandalas. You'll never make the same one again. So let's do yellow now. And then we're going to go back into the little one. So I'm going to go back into the 5-0 brush and get some yellow on there. So I want to make a small little swoop in this little negative space we've got going on there. So I'm going to use the same guideline. I'm not going to go up one, just the same. Push and then draw it all into that center area. If you cover up the white dot, that's okay. You can always go back over it again once your paint has dried, and that's usually what I like to do. Sometimes you can't factor in if that's gonna fit or not, and I don't want to leave it like that where the paint is on top of the dot, so I'll just go back over it with another top dot of the same color. No big deal. Okay, so there we go. There's our yellow. That looks awesome. Clean my brushes. Always make sure you clean your brushes too, guys, because you don't want to leave them in the water, because what will happen is they'll get pushed to one side. So we're about 3/4 of the way down already. The only thing left for us to do really is these sun rays areas. So what I want to do is I'm going to focus on the large ones first, and then I'll go back in and do the smaller ones. We're going to just do an array of all of the color palettes that we have, and then we'll be done. It's going to be really simple, really quick. I am going to move up in my size, so I'm going to go up to the size 20 or 0, really, it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to start, I'm going to probably start with the lightest color and then work my way in. So I'm going to do the baby blush first. And so what I want to do is I'm going to want to start where the tip of this comes in. I'm going to basically push my brush and then taper it up and have it go up that way, right? So I'll do that for each of them. It's a little tricky on trying to get your swoop to stay in the outer portion, so just take your time with it. You don't have to rush this one, that's for sure. Alright, so there's my first color. Now I'm going to go in with my Coral Cloud. Rinse my brush. And really all I'm doing right now is just creating some layers, so I'm just going to keep going at that same area. So I'm going to push down and then taper up. And as I go down, because they're going to get a little bit smaller, I'm going to want to change my brush size. So I got some large ones going on there. Now I'm going to go down. So I'm going to go back into my 3-0 and I'm going to go in with my yellow. Yeah, because I want to make sure I get a nice tapered end. And if you don't have much room to pull that swoop, you're not going to get a nice tapered end. And the last one is the yellow. Good. And as I go along, I'm just going to pop some of the little bubbles that I can see in the paints because I don't want them to dry like that. So as I go, I'll just keep doing that. Next color I want to do is probably the cinnamon. See, I like the swoosh it gives it. It's like such a cool effect. I love these swirly effects. And then we're going to do Gentle Heather and then Poetic Plum will be the last. And the last one. And then Poetic Plum. You will have one little space left there too. Don't worry about if you don't get it all, because what I want to do is probably make a white pearl swoosh that I can pull. So there we go with those colors. I still have to do the small ones too, but I am going to finish these large ones up first. So in this little area here that I have going on, I'm just going to make a dot and then I'm going to pull a swoosh just like that. If you have a lot of space, you could probably even make 2 of them if you really wanted to. Some of the areas I find a little bit bigger, and that's just because of the brush strokes that I did. Which it's fine. Nothing's going to be perfect, guys, so don't stress over it looking a certain way. Do your own thing. It's what makes it unique and stand out, is that you do your own thing. So there we go. Now, I want to do these little ones. So the way I'm going to do that is by just following this curve. So I'm going to want to do, I'm going to stay with this size 30 because I don't want something too big. And I'm going to stay doing, I'm going to go this way, but I'm going to go down long ways instead of going at the side angle. So I'm going to do more purples for this one. So I'm going to do the Poetic Plum. I'm going to start right up here and then follow this down. Same one here. You don't want too much of the paint on your brush as well. You don't want it clopping. Just enough. And the last one. I'm going to go in with Gentle Heather. So right next to it, I'm going to do a little bit of a tape, like angled. If this is the highest, this will be the second highest. It's going to go down a little bit. Instead of doing blush pink as the highlight, I'm going to go into Coral Cloud first and then do the blush pink. So Coral Cloud. Good. And then the blush pink. Looking at it from a distance like this, it looks really cool. I love the swirl effects that it gives off. And the color palette's really pretty, I gotta say. It's definitely different. I was gonna do more blues or something, but I like this palette. It's a really nice complementary colors. They complement each other nicely. All right, last one. And once we finish this, we'll let it dry for just a little bit. And then I'm going to go back in with that nice Sidonia dimensional paints and give a nice color pop to this. So that's all done, guys. So let's let this dry. We'll come back. And then on these purple dots, we'll do some top dots with the Sidonia, and then maybe a few other colors we'll go over. We'll even put some paint on the brush and kind of work itself out. All right. So let's wait and let it dry, and we'll come back to it. I've finished painting everything. It's still a little tacky, so I got to be careful holding it. But what I did was, while I was waiting for most of it to dry, I did take my Sidonia, which is the Bliss Drops color, and I did some top dots by just squeezing them out of the bottle and put them over that large purple dots that we had, just to give it some dimension and texture. And then I also did some small little swoops on this Gentle Heather color with the Sidonia, just to make it pop and shine. I didn't want to go too crazy with it, so I just left it at that for now and see when it dries what it'll look like. I also went ahead and fixed my little dots here, the white ones, where the swoop came up and covered it. So I went back on those just to pull them back out so that they don't have paint on them. And so let's just wait, and I'll show you the finished results after this. And thank you so much for joining me, guys. I really had a fun just painting and talking. I think I need to do more of just a hanging out type of tutorials where you can catch me live on whether it's YouTube here or on my social medias. I think I would prefer to do those kinds of paint where we could just hang out and talk and you can chat with me and we could do it as long as people are within reason and don't start attacking my chat room and saying unnecessary things. I will attempt to do that. I find that those are probably a little bit more intimate and, you know, you're relating to me and talking to me in real time. So that should be in my future. I really want to start doing those. I just got to find a time slot that's like feasible for me and for everyone else, obviously. So enjoy doing this, guys. And I love supporting small business. So please check out Susie. She's awesome. She's made some really nice brushes and she's just trying to get her name out there. So the Dot Cure Meditative Mandala Art is what she is advertising here, and I think it's such a wonderful concept, and her brushes are amazing, so give her a try. And don't forget Tara with her wonderful Bliss drops. She works so hard at making these paints, and I know she does because I work hard at making other things too, so I can definitely relate to what she does. And then, of course, look out for the 6-in-1 dotting tool pen. It's a nice travel size. It fits perfectly in your little bag with your paints. I'm really loving it and I'm digging it. So I'm going to make it readily available for all of you too. So check that out. It's going to be coming soon. So remember to keep that alert and keep your eyes peeled. But I missed you guys so much and I'm so glad I was able to do this for you. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will see you soon, hopefully full time, and we'll be painting away and maybe we'll be all hanging out together. So that will be a lot of fun. So take care, guys. Happy dotting as always, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.